4. Best vegetables to improve GFR and support kidney health. You had your routine blood test, and your doctor mentioned your GFR is lower than it should be. You felt fine. No pain, no obvious signs, just a number on a page that suddenly changed everything. Here is something most people never hear soon enough. Your kidneys can lose up to 40% of their function before you feel a single symptom. But the right food choices can make a real difference. In this video, you will discover 4 simple everyday vegetables: asparagus, leeks, watercress, and turnips, and exactly how each one supports your kidneys and helps protect your GFR naturally. Most people walk past asparagus in the supermarket without a second thought. It ends up in the trolley maybe once or twice a year, usually around Easter or when it goes on offer. It feels like a special occasion vegetable rather than something you would eat on a regular Tuesday evening, but that way of thinking might be costing your kidneys more than you realize. Asparagus has been used for thousands of years across Europe and Asia, not just as food, but as a natural remedy specifically for kidney and urinary health. Ancient healers had no laboratories or clinical trials, but they noticed something real. People who ate asparagus regularly seemed to pass water more freely, felt less bloated, and recovered more easily from conditions linked to fluid retention. Modern understanding has helped explain why. One of the most valuable things asparagus does for your kidneys is act as a gentle, natural diuretic. That simply means it encourages your body to produce more urine and flush out waste products more efficiently. Now, this might sound like a minor thing, but for your kidneys it is genuinely significant. When waste builds up in the blood because the kidneys are struggling to filter properly, it puts enormous pressure on those already overworked organs. Helping the body move that waste along more easily gives the kidneys a chance to keep up without being overwhelmed. What makes asparagus particularly interesting for kidney health is a natural compound it contains called asparagine. This is an amino acid found in high concentrations in asparagus, and it plays a direct role in supporting the kidney's own filtration process. It essentially helps stimulate kidney activity in a calm, steady way rather than forcing or shocking the system. Another reason asparagus stands out is its potassium content. Many healthy vegetables, spinach and bananas being good examples, are quite high in potassium. For someone with already reduced kidney function, too much potassium can become a concern because the kidneys struggle to remove excess amounts from the blood. Asparagus sits at the more manageable end of the scale, making it a safer and smarter regular choice compared to some of its more celebrated counterparts. It is also worth mentioning that asparagus brings antioxidants to the table, including glutathione, which helps protect kidney cells from the kind of slow, quiet damage caused by oxidative stress over time. As for getting it onto your plate more often, it really does not need to be complicated. Steam it lightly and serve it alongside eggs in the morning. Toss it into a stir-fry midweek. Roast it in the oven with a little olive oil and garlic. Simple preparations, used consistently, are where the real benefit lives. Before we get into the first vegetable, I want to ask you something personal. Have you recently had a blood test that showed your GFR is lower than it should be? Or has your doctor mentioned your kidney function and left you feeling unsure about what to do next? If that sounds familiar, type healing in the comments right now. I read every single one, and knowing your situation helps me make this content more useful for you. And if you are serious about protecting your kidney health naturally and want to be the first to know when new guidance goes up, subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell. This kind of information is exactly what this channel exists to share, and I do not want you to miss what is coming. Speaking of plants that quietly do far more than most people expect, the next vegetable might already be sitting in your kitchen right now. There is a good chance you have added leeks to a soup or a pie at some point without giving them much thought. They are one of those vegetables that just quietly gets on with the job in the background. You buy them, you chop them, you cook them, and then they disappear into whatever you are making. Most people never stop to consider that something so ordinary and affordable could be doing something genuinely valuable inside the body. Leeks belong to the same plant family as garlic and onions, and that connection matters more than it might seem. That family of vegetables is known for producing some of the most protective plant compounds found in everyday food. Leeks carry flavonoids and polyphenols, natural substances that work quietly in the background to calm inflammation in the body over time. And when it comes to kidney health, that matters enormously. Here is something worth understanding. One of the biggest silent threats to GFR is not a dramatic event. It is not an infection or an injury. It is long-term, low-level inflammation that builds up gradually over months and years, often without the person ever feeling it happening. This kind of chronic inflammation slowly damages the tiny filtering units inside the kidneys, reducing their ability to clean the blood effectively. The GFR number drops, and most people have no idea why. Eating foods that naturally reduce this background inflammation is one of the most practical and realistic ways to protect kidney function over time. Leeks, eaten regularly as part of your normal meals, contribute to exactly that. They are not a cure, and they are not a treatment, but they are a meaningful and consistent form of support that adds up over weeks and months. Leeks also contain a flavonoid called camphorol, which has been studied for its ability to protect the cells that line blood vessels from damage. This is particularly relevant for kidney health because the kidneys are deeply dependent on healthy blood flow and stable blood pressure to filter properly. When blood pressure runs too high for too long, it physically strains the kidneys and accelerates GFR decline. Supporting vascular health through food is therefore one of the quieter but more important strategies available. Beyond all of that, leeks are also a source of prebiotic fiber, which feeds the beneficial bacteria living in your gut. A healthier gut environment produces fewer inflammatory compounds that enter the bloodstream, which again reduces the workload your kidneys have to manage every single day. Getting more leeks into your week is straightforward. Stir them into scrambled eggs. Use them as a base for soups and stews. Slice them thinly into pasta dishes or grain bowls. The simplicity is part of what makes them so realistic as a long-term habit. Now, while leeks work from the inside out on inflammation and blood pressure, the next vegetable takes a slightly different approach, one that focuses on protecting the kidney cells themselves from a different kind of threat altogether. Watercress has been growing wild along freshwater streams in Britain for centuries. Long before supermarkets existed, it was gathered and eaten by ordinary people who somehow understood that it made them feel better. Today, it is widely available, usually affordable, and almost completely ignored as a serious health food. That is a real shame, because when it comes to protecting the kidneys specifically, watercress brings something to the table that very few vegetables can match. The key word here is oxidative stress. This is the process where unstable molecules called free radicals gradually damage healthy cells throughout the body, including the delicate tissue inside the kidneys. Over time, this kind of cellular damage is one of the main reasons kidney function declines and GFR numbers begin to fall. The body has its own natural defenses against oxidative stress, but those defenses need support, and that is exactly where watercress comes in. Watercress is exceptionally rich in antioxidants. It contains compounds called isothiocyanates, which are powerful plant substances that have been studied for their ability to protect cells from oxidative damage. It is also one of the better natural sources of vitamin C, which plays its own well-established role in neutralizing free radicals before they can cause harm. Together, these compounds work to reduce the burden of oxidative stress on kidney tissue, helping to slow the kind of quiet, gradual damage that chips away at GFR over time. For anyone already paying close attention to their kidney health, sodium and phosphorus intake are two areas that often come up in conversation with healthcare providers. Watercress is naturally very low in both, which makes it a genuinely smart addition to the plate for people who need to be mindful of those levels without feeling restricted in what they can eat. There is another layer to this that often gets overlooked. Watercress actively supports the body's own detoxification pathways, helping the liver and other organs process and eliminate waste compounds more efficiently. When those systems are working well, the overall load placed on the kidneys is reduced. It is a quieter benefit, but a meaningful one for anyone thinking about kidney health in a longer-term, whole-body way. Adding watercress to your daily routine requires almost no effort at all. Toss a handful into a salad. Layer it into a sandwich in place of lettuce. Stir it into a warm bowl of soup just before serving so it wilts gently without losing its goodness. Blend it into a smoothie if you prefer not to taste it directly. A small amount used consistently is all it takes. If anything in this video has shifted the way you think about your kidneys or given you even one realistic idea you can act on this week, please take just a second to hit the like button. It costs you nothing, but what it does is quietly tell the platform that this kind of honest, practical health information is worth sharing. That means someone else out there, perhaps dealing with a frightening GFR result and not knowing where to turn, gets to find this video when they need it most. Your like is a small action with a reach that goes well beyond this screen. So while watercress works at the level of protecting kidney cells from damage, the final vegetable in this list takes yet another angle, one that is rooted in something far more familiar and perhaps closer to home than you might expect. There is something about turnips that takes people back to a Sunday roast with all the trimmings, or a thick, steaming stew that warmed the whole house. For generations across the UK and USA, turnips were simply part of life. They were cheap, filling, reliable, and available all year round. Then somewhere along the way, they got pushed aside in favor of trendier vegetables, and most people stopped thinking about them altogether. That quiet disappearance from the modern plate turns out to be a real loss, particularly for anyone paying attention to their kidney health. Turnips sit in a genuinely useful position when it comes to managing what the kidneys have to process. Two of the most important minerals for anyone with reduced kidney function to keep an eye on are potassium and phosphorus. When the kidneys are not filtering as well as they should be, both of these minerals can build up in the blood to levels that cause serious problems. Many popular vegetables, including potatoes and tomatoes, carry relatively high amounts of both. Turnips, by comparison, are naturally low in potassium and phosphorus, which makes them one of the more practical and kidney-friendly root vegetables you can put on your plate without worry. But the benefit does not stop there. Turnips contain a group of natural plant compounds called glucosinolates. These are the same family of compounds found in broccoli and cabbage, and they play a meaningful role in supporting the body's ability to process and clear out waste products. When waste elimination runs more smoothly throughout the body, the kidneys do not have to work as hard to compensate. That reduction in workload, repeated day after day, adds up in a way that genuinely matters over time. Turnips are also a solid source of both vitamin C and dietary fiber. The vitamin C connection you already understand from the previous section. The fiber piece is worth spending a moment on because it often surprises people. A healthy, well-fed gut produces significantly fewer inflammatory and toxic compounds that end up circulating in the bloodstream. Fewer of those compounds in the blood means less for the kidneys to filter out. It is a connection most people are completely unaware of, but it is one of the more compelling reasons to take fiber intake seriously as part of a kidney-supportive approach to eating. Preparing turnips is easier than most people remember. Roast them in chunks alongside other root vegetables until the edges turn golden. Mash them with a little butter and black pepper as a lower potassium swap for mashed potato. Add them to soups and casseroles where they absorb flavor beautifully and almost disappear into the dish. 4 vegetables, 4 different ways of supporting the kidneys. Now it is time to bring it all together and look at what this actually means for you starting this week. If you have made it this far, there is a good chance your kidney health means something to you. Maybe you have already had a conversation with your doctor that left you with questions. Maybe a number on a test result did not sit quite right. Or maybe you are simply someone who understands that waiting until things go wrong before paying attention is not a strategy worth relying on. Whatever brought you here, the fact that you are thinking about this now is genuinely worth something. Here is the most important thing to take away from everything covered in this video. Kidney health does not respond well to dramatic overnight overhauls. It responds to consistency. It responds to small, steady choices made regularly over weeks and months. That is actually good news, because it means you do not have to change everything at once. You just have to start somewhere. Think about asparagus sitting in your trolley more than once or twice a year, not as a treat, but as a regular, reliable part of your weekly shop. Something that quietly encourages your kidneys to flush and filter without the strain of having to work against the tide. Think about leeks, already so familiar and so easy to use, doing far more than flavoring your soup. Calming inflammation in the background, supporting steadier blood pressure, feeding the gut bacteria that reduce the toxic load your kidneys have to manage every single day. Think about that small bag of watercress that most people walk past, now making it into your basket and onto your plate a few times a week. Protecting kidney cells from the kind of slow oxidative damage that chips away at function so quietly that most people never connect it to what they are eating. And think about turnips, humble and old-fashioned as they are, earning their place back in your kitchen. Low in the minerals that struggling kidneys find hardest to handle, rich in the compounds that help the whole body process and eliminate waste more efficiently. None of these changes require a complete lifestyle overhaul. None of them ask you to give up the foods you love or follow a complicated plan. They simply ask you to add a little more of the right things, a little more often, with a little more intention. If something in this video gave you a new way of thinking about your kidney health, share it in the comments below. It genuinely helps to hear what lands for people, and your experience might be exactly what someone else needed to read today. If you are not yet subscribed, now is a good time. There is a lot more practical, straightforward guidance coming on this channel, all of it focused on real steps that real people can actually take. And if you want to keep going right now, the next video is ready and waiting for you.